Hello, hello. Good evening. How are you doing? All right. So I'm going to wait. Oh, there we go. Good evening. Good evening. How's it going? Hello, hello. Welcome. I'm guitar coach Mike Papapavlou. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So awesome to see folks tuning in. So I'm Mike Papapavlou. I'm an international award-winning guitar coach. I was fortunate enough to win Guitar World Magazine's Guitar Teacher of 2020 this year, thanks to my students. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I want to thank you for taking the time on this Monday evening to tune in. I know that music is really important to you, and guitar is really important to you, self-expression, and just the joy and satisfaction that comes from playing music, creating music, etc. So I'm Mike. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, I am the owner of Guitar Guide Guru, and I offer private lessons and group classes on Zoom, as well as in person in the Upper West Side in Manhattan. But I practically teach right now all over the world, which is quite a blessing. I was actually thinking today, I was on a run, and I was just thinking, wow, how blessed am I that I'm actually able to teach guitar. I mean, I didn't always have my dream job. So I feel very, very fortunate. I'm gonna turn on the chat. I'm gonna turn on the chat. Hi, hey Brett. Hi Linda. Thank you. So folks, if you have anything to, if you want to put anything on the chat, please do. Anthony, yes. Sam Ash is my favorite store also, Anthony. I'm gonna tell you why. So if you just allow me, I'm gonna now go to the Sam Ash and just share in the chat. I'm gonna share my own video so that more people can see it. There we go. All right. So yeah. Everyone, anybody that you want to, please, if you want to say something, I want to hear it. I'm interested. So welcome. And again, thank you so much for taking the time today. And we're going to talk about lead guitar and pentatonic mastery and demystifying the fretboard. All right. So I've already said a few things about myself. Yeah, it was one of those moments in December where I found out that I won this international award as the Guitar Teacher of the Year. And it was thanks to my students. So I'm trying to write my own songs, but I need to help with, oh, you need help with your own songs. Okay. All right, Linda. I appreciate that. Thank you. So, you know, it was thanks to my students that I got this award. And it just comes to show you what can happen when we just serve our customers to our best abilities. And I know this is not a business coaching session. This is about lead guitar. But the reason I bring this up is because Sam Ash provides amazing customer service. I want to thank Sam Ash for having me on. I really appreciate it. And you know what? They are smart. They are smart because by allowing me to do this, not only are they helping a guitar coach in his career, but they're going to have me as a client for life, right? Because they're allowed, you know, so when they say that they're serving musicians since 1924, they really, really do. So just so you guys know how this happened was, plus I need your help with mano. All right. So just so you know, everyone stumbles sometimes when public speaking. Please be kind. All right. So how all this happened, how this live stream is happening is because I was with my wife at the Guitar Center, Sam Ash, forget that, the Sam Ash on 34th Street. And I was looking at this PRS, and the manager, he just walks up to me and, asks me if I need help. We talk about PRS, and then we end up talking more, and I tell him what I do. And then he basically said, I'm going to put you in touch with Ben Ash at Sam Ash. And sure enough, he actually did. And then Ben has been so amazing to just have me on and give you as much value. And just one last thing about this is that truly in 2021, the only thing that we really have to separate from the crowd is how well we slip of the tongue. Right, exactly. The only thing that we have to separate us from everybody else, from the competition, is how well we serve our customers. And I can only say nothing but the best about my experience with Sam Ash. So before I dive into lead guitar, I am gonna share one thing with you, and then I want to play something for you as well, just so that I can let some music come out of the guitar. So somebody asked a great question earlier, and they asked, is this gonna be a big sales pitch? Look, I have, like right now, pretty much almost more students than I can handle. And no, I hate big sales pitches. I hate when I'm bombarded on YouTube with like promises about this and promises about that, if I do this and do that. No. So I'm just going to share with you what I know about lead guitar and pentatonic mastery. And no, I'm not going to sell you anything, right? I will say that if you want to check out more about my classes and my private lessons, etc., and my methodology, just go to guitarguideguru.com. That is guitarguideguru.com. All right, so no sales pitch here. Let me play something for you, and then we will go straight into Pentatonic Mastery. This is an awesome backing track from Benjamin Harrison on YouTube. I'm not affiliated with him at all. I don't even know him, but his tracks are just killer. All right, that's a little groove there for you, just to get in the guitar playing mood. All right, so Pentatonic Mastery. So why, I want to ask a question, and let's see if anybody can give me an answer. So why is it that the pentatonic scale is the most common scale used in rock music and funk and blues and what you name it? Why is it that most guitar players play the pentatonic scale? I would love to see. Okay, yes. Excellent. Okay, so it's just reading the chat there. So if anybody can tell me why the pentatonic scale is so pervasive, since guitar music since we've had guitar music, we've had the pentatonic scale, and then pretty much almost every amazing rock, blues, funk solo we have is from the pentatonic scale. So C.K. Wallace, pentatonic is neither major nor minor. It works and goes along with power chords. Absolutely, sir. It fits so much. Yes, it does. So we're going to talk about why it fits so much. All right. So the pentatonic scale has 5 shapes, 5 positions on the guitar. But we're going to first stick with position 1. So let's see. Why is it that the pentatonic is the most important scale to learn on the guitar? So I said it. I just said it right there. Yeah. If I'm not saying that other scales are not important, but if you can play the pentatonic scale in its 5 positions, you can then play any other scale. Why? Because you can play any other scale because all you got to do is add certain notes, and then that pentatonic becomes another scale. So if you're going to do nothing else and you want to play lead guitar, learn your pentatonic your scale and its 5 positions, right? So C.K. Wallace, yes, I apologize, Cheryl. Not sir. Okay. So the pentatonic scale. So why is it so important? So number 1 is that it's only 5 notes versus other scales that are typically 7 notes, like the major scale or the minor scale, right? So the pentatonic actually comes from the name penta, like pentagon. So it's 5-note scale. And so because it's a 5-note scale, it makes it easier to learn than other scales. And then another reason is that it's 2 notes per string. So most scales on the guitar are 3 notes per string, but the pentatonic is 2. And that makes it easier to play, and it makes it easier to visualize and to memorize, right? So position 1 of the minor pentatonic goes, I'm going to play it in A minor, which just starts on the 5th fret of the low E string. So I'm going to go 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, right? So it's really, I mean, look, it's 1. If I just talk about the number of my fingers, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, right? So from the low E string, it's 1, 4, and then the rest is 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3 times, and then 1, 4, 1, 4. So this is easy to memorize. So the first reason why it's the most important scale for guitar players: A, it's 5 notes, so it's easier. 2, it's 2 notes per string, so it's easier to learn. And then 3 is that because it's just 2 notes per string, it's easier to make up your own stuff. You can manipulate it, you can use it, you can change it around. When a scale has more than 2 notes, it's harder to not make it sound like a scale. Okay? And then most importantly, hello Max. Most importantly, I'm here to tell you that if you're wondering what scales to learn, or if you're confused about scales on the guitar, I'm here to tell you that the best thing that you can do is learn the minor pentatonic and its 5 shapes, because it fits well with almost everything, right? So let's take, for example, I want to actually ask, does everyone here know what the intervals are of the minor pentatonic? Anybody know the intervals or scale degrees? And if you don't know what I'm talking about scale degrees or intervals, just please let me know in the chat, because that is really important to know as well. So it's one thing to just learn the fingering, but you should know each note in the pentatonic scale, and I'm gonna tell you why that's so important. Okay, so if anybody knows what the notes are in the pentatonic scale, please put it in the chat. All right, so we've got 1. I'm going to play A minor pentatonic. So Cheryl says 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 of the regular major scale. 5. Yes, that's absolutely right, Cheryl. But actually today we're going to talk about the minor pentatonic. So we've got 1. I'm going to play A minor pentatonic. Yes. So we're going to play 1. We're going to play the next note in the pentatonic scale is the flat 3. And if you don't know why that's the flat 3, I'm going to explain. Okay? We've got 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. And I'm going to play the next octave. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. I added an extra note in there. Okay? So let's dive into why this is called the flat 3, why this is called the 4. So I'm talking about the scale degrees now. Let's see. Brett says, root, minor third, 4, 5, and flat 7. Absolutely right. And I'm assuming you're meaning minor third, right, Brett? Not major third, right? So, good. So, let's talk a little bit about intervals so that we can understand what these degrees mean. So we've got, who knows how many notes we have in like Western music? How many notes do we have in total? Yeah, how many notes? So we know A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We know Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So there's 7 letters in the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But then you probably have heard of sharps. You've probably heard of sharps and flats. So we have 5 sharps and flats. So that will be a total of 7 plus 5 is 12. That's right, 12. Excellent. So there's 12 notes on the guitar. Yeah. So we're gonna look at each and every one of those notes. Yes, David, 12, exactly. Yes, Brett, yes. All right. So I'm going to play them for you. Let's play those 12 notes. So I played all 12 notes from A to A, from one A to the next A. So that actually is called the chromatic scale. So we're going to discover why that's the flat 3, that's the 4, that's the 5, and that's the flat 7. All right? So you will not only know the pentatonic position for position 1, but you're going to know each note in the scale. Really know it. Right? So from 1, that's our 1. That's our root right there. So that's an A. So the next, yes, Dean, yes. So the next note from A is B, right? A, B, C. So on the guitar neck, that would be right here. That would be 2 frets up from the A. That was a full step. So a full step is two frets, and a half step is 1 fret. So the smallest movement I can make is do a half step. So that would be from 1 fret to the next available fret. That's a half step, and then we've got a full step, right? So that would be 1, A would be 1, and then B would be 2. But there's a note in between B and A, which is B flat or A sharp. So we would call this 1. We would call this flat to the interval. And then this would be 2. So now that 8th fret, that's the flat 3. Okay? Flat 3. So we've got 1, flat 2, 2, flat 3. So the next note that we can play is the 3, which you can either play up here, next fret, that was fret 9, or you can play it on fret 4 of the A string. That's 3. The next note after that is 4. So far we've got 1, flat 3, and 4 in the pentatonic scale. So now you know why this is flat 3 and that's 4. The note after 4 is the flat 5, which is known as the blue note, also known as the devil's note, and that's known as the flat 5. Okay, so we're learning our intervals right now, right? We're learning our intervals, which is really important if you really want to play lead guitar confidently, because you don't just want to know scales, but you want to know every note in the scale you're using, because everyone has a different color and a different sound, right? So 1, flat 2, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, 5. So we're learning all 12 notes that exist in music and on the guitar. All right, so we're up to the 5, which is an E note. The next note is flat 6. The one after that is 6, natural 6, flat 7, 7. All right, let me have a sip of water here. Yes, so David asks, is E to F and B to C a half step or a whole step? Yes, so E to F is a half step and so is B to C. Yes, David. So that's why we have 7, we've got 7 letters in the English, in the music alphabet, but we've only got 5 sharps and flats because E goes to F and then B goes to C. So there is no E sharp or F flat or B sharp and C flat. That's absolutely right, David, right? So I'm going to go over them one more time. So we've got 1, flat 2, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 6, 6, flat 7, 7, and the octave. So we just did all 12 notes from note to note, from A to A, right? So now that we looked into it, now we know, okay, now we know why that's 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. And then the same thing, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. Okay? So now we know what these scale degrees are and why they have those names. Okay, excellent. So give me a moment as I share something with you here. Okay, so we started by talking about the pentatonic scale and how it's the scale that you want to master before you learn every other scale. I'm gonna get into how you can make the pentatonic scale into another scale by just adding a few notes. But first, I want to actually switch gears a little bit here and talk about practicing. So a little bit more about me is that, you know, I say that I teach the busiest adults on the planet, because I really do. I work with, you know, professional adults, you know, lawyers, executives, business owners, CEOs, you name it. And there's some misconceptions out there. There's some misconceptions that you need talent to play a guitar or any instrument, and that's baloney, right? Yes, there's some people that are born with more musical DNA, but that doesn't stop anyone from being able to play the guitar. You can play guitar at any level you want if you're willing to pay the price, which is the price that is to pay is to work at it, to put in the work, right? That's all you need. Anyone, including you, can play guitar at any level you want, play any song, all right? If you are dedicated to it, if you are committed to it. Yeah, Brett says that, yeah, of course, yeah, it doesn't hurt if you have some musical DNA, but, you know, some do, some don't. And I don't know if I do or if I don't, but I know that I spent a lot of years with the guitar. So, you know, so yeah, first misconception is that you don't need, you know, it doesn't need to be in your family, you know, and the age, that's another excuse. Yes, if you start early is better, but that doesn't mean that somebody in their 60s and 70s can start the guitar. You can start at any age, and you can progress. I've seen it. I've helped people. And then the biggest one out of all is the I don't have time excuse, right? That's the one that we are all guilty of. So look, even the busiest people on the planet, let's see. So actually, Brett brought up a great point, and give me one moment here. Yes, so Brett, and I want to thank you so much for your involvement. This is making it easy. You know, I'm here, I can't see you, I don't know who's watching, so the fact that you are talking with me, yes, and so Dean says, it helps if you have a nice instrument. Yes, it does. It really does. So you deserve it. You know, I hear a lot of people say that they're going to get that nice guitar when they start practicing, when they're committed to it. And, you know, that's just like saying, I'm going to start a business when I have the time. I'm going to start a business when things, you know, are when life is a little easier, and life never becomes easier. So if you want to buy a better guitar or a better instrument, do it. If you can afford it, go for it. You deserve it. And I found that there have been times where I wasn't practicing as much as I wanted to, and then I bought a new guitar, and guess what? What I wanted, which was to practice more, actually happened because I committed myself and I got that beautiful guitar. Actually, that green one over there, wait, that one there, that's what happened there. When I got that guitar, I practiced a lot more, right? So yes, it definitely helps to have a nice instrument. And of course, you can get really, really nice instruments at Sam Ash, of course. So Brett says, I've seen guys that never get there even though they play daily. Poor practice regime is to blame mostly. Yeah, okay. So Brett, I cannot say that I know a lot of guitar players that even though they practice daily, they don't get there. I cannot say from experience that I've seen that, but I totally believe you. And I know you're being honest. But yeah, if it's anything, it's probably poor practice regime, right? And also, look, if you're gonna learn how to fly a plane, are you going to go to school for it? Aren't you going to have professionals, teach you how to do it? So I was lucky enough. I started playing pretty late at 10 years old, but I had from age 10 to 24, I was taking guitar lessons all the way from 10 years old until I finished with my master's in jazz guitar here in New York City. And yeah, I had like 5 or 6 guitar teachers, and they were all amazing. And I didn't, I think that, well, some people have no timing. We're gonna talk about that, Dean. We're gonna talk about that. Thank you for mentioning. So yeah, and I think if you're gonna learn guitar, if you want to get better at guitar, I would highly recommend a guitar teacher. Now, of course, I'm biased because I am one, so of course I would say that. But look, there's YouTube, there's courses, there's amazing content out there for free, right? But sometimes, what you put in is what you put out, is what you get out. So, if you're not investing in yourself and in your music and in your guitar playing, there's only so far you can go. So let's talk a little bit about practice regime, and then we're going to come back to the pentatonics, right? Pentatonic Mastery. So yeah, how to not have poor practice regime. So I'm going to share some slides here. So just give me one moment, and I'll get that going. Boy, I'm doing a lot of talking. I wish you guys could talk as well. Tired of hearing my own voice. And by the way, I want to thank you for still being here. Thank you for spending your time. I know you could be doing a million other things, but I really hope you've gotten some value. So we've said that if there's one scale that you should focus on, in my humble opinion, is the pentatonic scale, the minor pentatonic scale, and its 5 positions. And now we're going to talk about practice regime. So let me share my screen here. Give me a moment. Oh, Mimi, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Because I'm here because I wanna help. So thank you for sharing that I'm being helpful. So we talked about the pentatonic scale, the five notes in the pentatonic scale. We shared that it's the 1, the flat 3, the 4, the 5, and the flat 7. And then we went over the intervals. And actually, I'm gonna show you. Actually, before we go into the practice regime, I'm gonna show you a diagram that's gonna help with. So there we go. Okay, so This here is the minor scale starting. So actually this this here would be, since it's starting on the 7th fret, that would be a B minor scale, okay? Because that root is a B. So if you take out that 2 and the flat 6, if you take those 2 off, and this one here, and this one here, da 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 da, that's the pentatonic scale. Root, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, root. And then here it will be root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7, and root. So you can see the intervals there, right? So remember how I said before that if you just add a few notes to the pentatonic, you can make it into another scale? So watch this. So I'm going to play A minor. Whoop. All right, so if I add that note here, that B, and I add that flat 6 there, I just made that into a minor scale. From that, I just added 2 notes, and I made it into a minor scale. And then so you can learn any other scale using the same pentatonic shape. It's quite amazing. Quite amazing. All right. So now let's go and talk about practice habits. All right. And by the way, if you have any questions, please let me know. And just so you know, we're going to end at 8 p.m., right? I have been teaching all day, so I'll be by 8 o'clock, we'll be done. And I want to thank you for your time. Okay, so here we go. So what's tip number 1? Okay, one moment. Let's get this right. All right. So Brett has said that he's seen people that practice daily, but they're not going anywhere. So here is my successful practicing tip number 1. And by the way, that's a typo. It should be PLES. So forgive me about that. So you want to commit practicing a minimum number of days a week for a minimum number of minutes. And then I say that I always see it like this. I always like, okay, yes, Brett. Cheryl, no, I have not written a guitar book that I've written yet. Not yet. But thank you for asking. Okay, so here is my first tip about successful practicing. So you want to commit to yourself, how important is this to you? How badly do you want to improve your guitar skills, right? How badly do you want it? And then when you think about how badly you want to improve, then what is the minimum number of days and a minimum number of minutes per session that you can do? And the reason why I say minimum is because if you say that I'm going to practice 1 hour a day, 7 days a week, that might be, that might be reasonable for somebody, but it may not be reasonable at all for somebody else. So if your goal is to practice a minimum number of days for a minimum number of minutes, you're more likely to achieve that goal. And yeah, anything above that is going to be a win. So, and here's another thing. If you only had 1 hour a week to practice your guitar or any other instrument, then it'd be better if you did it 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week, than if you did it 1 hour for once a week. So frequency is key. Now, can you do 20 minutes a day? 6 days a week, that's 2 hours. Half hour a day, 6 days a week, 3 hours. And then, okay, good. And then Steve, thank you for asking, Steve. So could I please spend a minute to address proper fretting, hand positioning, wrists and thumbs? Yes, Steve, I will happily do that. And thank you so much for asking. So let me finish with these practicing tips, and then I'll talk about that as well. All right. And then we've got about 20 minutes to go, and then you will be off to the races. So let's go to the second one. Okay. So, but again, frequency is everything. Sometimes I'll practice many times a day, but sometimes it'll be for 5 minutes, 10, sometimes it'll be for a full hour. You know, I grab my guitar as often as I can. Why? Because it makes me happy, right? And I want to improve and keep improving. So here's the second practicing tip. Let's get this going. And thank you for sticking with me, everyone. I appreciate you. So let's see, do I have the next one? So here's my second tip about how to practice properly, and not properly, practice that actually works. You don't want to, I'm curious how you recommend balancing practicing techniques theory and doing more. Mimi, thank you for asking. So Mimi says, I'm curious how you recommend balancing practicing technique theory and doing some fun stuff like learning songs with only a half-hour practice a day. That's beautiful. So, okay, first of all, Mimi, if you're practicing half-hour a day, 7 days a week, so you are practicing, so not 3 hours, but 3.5 hours a week. Not bad, not bad. Can you bump it up to 45 minutes a day? I think you can. So, but I'm going to answer your question a little later, okay? So, practice. When you start, you want to do a warm-up. And a warm-up can be something like that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 that everybody knows. But in essence, I think of as a warm-up as something that you can just play something that you already are comfortable with, right? I don't start my practice with the hardest thing or the new song that I want to learn, or the new part of the song that I want to learn. You know, I just start with something. I just want to warm up. So I want to play something that I'm familiar with, you know. So that's number 2. And then let's go to the third one right now. And by the way, I love these questions. So please ask away, everyone. Honestly, I'd rather answer your questions than just talk nonstop. So, because I'm here for you. I'm not here for me right now. So, so actually, this one is in line with your question, Mimi. So after the warm up, that's when you want to go into your real learning time. So you want to figure out what you want to work on before you sit down and practice. I found this to be really helpful. So I will think about what I want to improve before I sit down. And then when I sit down, I warm up a little bit, and then I do the thing that I had in my head, right? And figuring out what you want to work on before you sit down. It can be a song, a measure, a riff, a melody, a chord progression, or a chord, whatever it is. Just think about it before, right? So that you're not aimless. All right? And then 2 more. And then I'm going to answer your questions. Okay, here's the 4th one. So if you've only got 10, 15, 20 minutes, warm up a little bit and then just focus on one thing. Focus is, well, I don't need to say how important focus is, but yeah, just pick one thing that you want to improve and just stick with just that if you have a short practice time. If you have more time, you can do 2 or even 3 things, okay? And then finally, let's do practice tip number 5, all right? And then we go to questions. So if you have questions, please ask them now. And then finally, when you sit down to practice, if you feel like, oh man, I did good. I did good. I enjoyed that. I learned a little more, or I'm playing that a little better. If you feel good, stop there. So end on a high note, right? It's like a musical joke, but no, end on a good note. So, because you don't want to stop practicing in frustration, right? Good. So you know what? Now we've got 12 minutes. So I'm just going to answer questions right now. So I hope I helped you with some practice tips, right? And I really hope that you got some value out of talking about the minor pentatonic and looking at the intervals, and me sharing that it's, the scale that you should focus on if you want to rock out and solo on the guitar. Thanks for doing this, but those tip pages took way too. Okay, thank you, Brett. I really appreciate that. All right, so I really appreciate that. So let's answer some questions. So okay, so let's talk about, actually Mimi asked a great question about balancing practicing technique theory with fun stuff like learning songs. So honestly, I think a good half and half is key. So if you spend half of your time, doing fun stuff like learning songs, and then the other half practicing technique theory, I think that's a pretty good balance. Now, is that 50-50? Is that the perfect ratio? Possibly. I mean, I don't think anyone can tell you for sure, but there's got to be a balance, right? I usually do half and half. So Steve, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate that you say that it was been fun and informative. Honestly, this is, I give master classes, and I give regular classes on Zoom and lessons. And this is, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but this is challenging, these live streams, because I don't know what level you're at. So I don't know if, it's hard for me to know if what I'm saying to you, what I'm sharing with you is relevant. So I really appreciate it. I'm like trying my best here, but that's why knowing where somebody is, what level they're on, and what goals they have is important for a teacher. If a teacher doesn't know what you want to get out of this, what you like about music, where you can play on guitar. It's hard. It's hard. It's impossible to teach, right? So I would really want to thank you for saying that it's been fun and informative. And yes, I absolutely offer virtual one-on-one lessons and classes. So just go to www.guitarguideguru.com. Maybe I can put it in the chat. I think I can. So just go there and just submit a contact form, and just tell me, you're going to answer questions, just so that I know where you're at in your playing and what you want to achieve, et cetera, et cetera. And Brett, yes. And Brett, feel free to, even if you're not looking for lessons, Brett, just go to my website and contact me, and maybe we can even just jam, because I'd love to meet you. Yeah, again, I don't know exactly where your level is, but I feel like must be a great player, Brett, because you ask the right questions, and you're here, you're with me, and I appreciate you. Yeah, so let's ask. Awesome, will do. Awesome, Steve. So, oh, and by the way, when you just to mention about contacting me. So if you're considering either joining one of my classes or virtual one-on-one lessons, we're gonna get on a Zoom call. We're gonna get on a Zoom call and just discuss your goals and if it's a good fit or not. So just so you know, there's that free consultation, and if it's a good fit, it is, and if it's not, it's not. And well, Brett, yes, the journey of music is large, but I'd love to hear you play. I bet you're a great player based on your questions. So I've got so much to remember, relearn. So much has gone on and happened. It's been a privilege to hang out and learn from it. Oh, Cheryl, thank you so much. And again, it'd be lovely to meet you and see what you can play and see what you know and see how I can help you. This is a little blind here. All right, so let me just answer one more question, which was about proper fretting hand positioning, wrist and thumbs. Yeah, that's a great question. Oh, and that was from Steve, right? So here is, let's see. Oh, hey, Miguel. All right. Well, Miguel, better late than never. So I hope you just get some value in the next 7 minutes. And thank you for showing up. I really appreciate you. So let's talk about proper fretting hand, the wrist and thumb. So about the left hand. So a lot of guitarists have a problem of getting good sound out of chords because their fingers are flat, right? So if your hand looks like this when you're playing a C chord, then obviously you're going to be touching the first string, right? So what you want to do is you want to use the tip of your fingers, always the tip of your fingers. And I actually need to cut my nails. I need to cut my nails because even though they're short, they're a little long. So short nails is really important. And then using the tip of your fingers, and then your fingers should always be curved. Whether you're playing a scale or you're playing a chord, your fingers should always look like this, right? So see now, I get a nice C chord. And then about the thumb. So the thumb, oh man, the thumb is an issue for guitar players worldwide. So we all have this bad habit of having our thumb stick out, right? And I know some players use it to do this kind of stuff, but in general, from my experience, I would say that the best way is that your thumb is in the back, which is really hard if you're used to playing like this all the time. Getting it down here is challenging, but it is worth it because that's a prop, So look at how my hand looks. Look at this versus, you see that, versus this, but your hand should look like this. Now, by doing this, I have a lot more control over the fretboard. Look, versus like this, that's all the control I have. See, look, by bringing my thumb down, look at like, now my hands are like dancing over the strings. So you want to bring it down. And then another reason why you want the thumb in the back is that as you're putting pressure to play a chord, right? You're putting pressure inwards. And then if you have your thumb in the back, then you're adding resistance on the other end. So you're going to get cleaner chords by having the thumb in the back, all right? Okay, so we're going to end in 4 minutes. Oh, thank you for checking my website out, David. I appreciate that. And yes. So yes. This. Thank you, Cheryl. Yes, this is going to be archived, and you can watch the whole thing, right? Okay, lovely. So let's just recap here, which is that well, we've said so many things. So, but I just want to thank you all for me tonight. And if you enjoyed it, please say so right now. And if it went well, I think everyone at Samash will want to have me here again. Feel free to contact me at guitarguideguru.com. I'll happily send over any of the documents that I showed you, the diagrams, etc., etc. And whatever it is that you want to accomplish in music, I know you can do it. So let's see, Brett. Yes, Brett. I'm gonna share what Brett just said. I always like the thought of leaving a hole between your hand and the fretboard so that a mouse can squeeze through. Yes. Yeah, we not the New York City rats that we have here though, Brett. So yes, Steve, thank you so much. Thank you, David. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say that if you have music in you, the world deserves to hear it, and that I'm absolutely believe that you can make the music you want, and regardless of age, regardless of level. Yes, thank all. Best part of your day. Wow, Cheryl. I cannot thank you enough. Allison, I would love to play something, but quite frankly, it's like 8 o'clock here, and I live in a building, and so neighbors, I would love to play something for you, believe me. But I did play something in the beginning, so just a little improvised solo. So if you go back, you can hear it. So thank you, everyone. Have an amazing evening, and have an amazing week, and make it as musical a week as you can. All right. So see you soon.